Hello, everyone. I am finally back after a very long forced hiatus due to remodeling, a flood, and all kinds of chaos that has happened around my house. The good news, I am back into a functioning state. Pikachu, welcome back, and thank you for the sub. I appreciate it. So, I am back up and running, hopefully mostly for good. We'll see. At some point, I still have to finish some remodeling in the basement, but that is much further off now, so hopefully there won't be as many stream interruptions, and I can actually keep my computer functioning. Do let me know if there's any issue with the quality on here. I'm on different cables, different place. I had to redo my basement effectively to get this thing back up and running, and so I think we're good. I hope. I did some Teams calls, and the quality held, so I went, speed test seems good. Teams calls held. How bad could it be? Let's do this. Okay, first of all, some announcements. Let's see here. Okay, we're going to start here. We're going to do this in chronological order. First of all, Get Crackin' workshops. Todd already kind of jumped the gun a little bit. So for me, Todd, I can kind of guess that you're in a different time zone from me. For me, this is tomorrow. So as I record it, it is 10/30/2024, or I guess I should use the month first. October 30th, 2024. This will be on October 31st, 12 p.m. Eastern. That's 9 a.m. Pacific for those of you in the U.S. And I realize I am streaming this on the 30th, and this is coming out in what is 9 hours from now? No, my math is wrong. No, 12 hours from now. See, I can do time zones. It's a little difficult, but for those of you who may miss it, so getcrackin.com/workshops, but you can always catch recordings of the workshops that get posted. Usually, I think they do a little editing on the, like the opener and then post them, usually in like a weekish or so. It's already 7 a.m. here. Wow. Okay. Gotcha. Cool. But yes, so this one is going to be undoing Git mistakes. So there is a lot of ways to mess things up in Git. There's the stereotypical XKCD comic for those people who haven't seen it. I think this one here. If you haven't seen it, this is an oldie but a goodie. Yeah, right? You just memorize the commands and then save your work, reclone, start over, right? That's the stereotypical joke with Git. So we're going to look at how to not have to reclone your entire repository when you make mistakes, and actually how to effectively beat your repository back into a functioning state to get things working again. Should hopefully be good. So I think it's about 30 minutes long. I need to double check. But yeah, so, and the recording will be up there. Next thing, there is a user group event coming up with the .NET user group. So this one's a little further out. You YouTube viewers actually have a chance if you're watching this right away. So November 5th, 5 p.m. Pacific, we are going to be talking about what is new in C# 9. I'm going to extend this out to kind of what's new across some of the .NET ecosystems, the C# language for people who've been keeping up with the features. This is not going to be an overly exciting release. There's been a lot of things that have gotten cut, fallen to the wayside, but there is still a lot of cool stuff coming in .NET. And I didn't put it on here. .NET Conf. If you have not done so, see, I'm going to do this in chronological order. This will be a worthwhile conference to check out. Great speaker lineup here already with what is on here. Effectively, if you want to know what's cool with C#, there's a lot of really big names here. I will say this: Steve Sanderson usually doesn't get as much credit as he deserves. He is awesome. I love his sessions. So if you get a chance, yeah, .NET numbering versus C# numbering, very confusing. Amen. Functionally, we should probably just say .NET 9. Really, like. Because this is wrong. I just noticed. Because this says .NET 9 and this says bleeding edge of C#, and then whoever made this graphic combined the two and said C# 9. We're not doing C# 9. That is a mistake. And if I had caught this earlier, I'd tell them to go change the logo. But it's next Tuesday. people will figure it out. Effectively, it's what's coming in here. You'll get a good idea of what's probably going to get announced. So, quick spoiler, the C# team has commitment issues. They will not commit to anything being released until the moment it is released. So we will talk about what is probably going to be releasing, but given that I'm talking about it on November 5th and it is expected to release in November, there's not a lot of wiggle room. We're getting down to the wire where we're pretty confident of what is coming in the next version of .NET. So there's that. There's that. Finally, last but not least, absolutely not least, getcon.com. Not to be confused with getkraken.com/getcon. That's the old website. This is the new one. This one, December 10th and 11th. There is more speakers to be announced. That's your hint. But they've got prizes. It was a great time last year. All of the sessions for this are pre-recorded ahead of time and kind of edited so that things are lining up. But oftentimes the speakers are in the chat as well, answering questions kind of as they go, which is kind of cool to be able to give a talk and answer questions simultaneously. That normally doesn't get to happen. So not entirely clear what it is, and I'm also not entirely clear who the two witty hosts are. That'll be a fun, exciting thing to find out. But yeah, so GetCon, another one that is definitely worth attending. Save your seat button. It is free online. Drop in and you're off to the races. Okay, is that enough announcements? I feel like I just rattled on and on and on for a while. That's good though. It's good though. I've got my Mountain Dews queued up. Got to remember, my camera's in a slightly different place than it was before, and it's messing with me. Not sure I like it. Andrew, thank you very much. Yes, it is great to be back. Oh, Pikachu, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, don't feel bad, Pikachu. I've been offline probably about the same amount of time. I think it's been close to 2 months at this point. I've been functionally offline. I've been, I was doing a lot of remodeling stuff, and every time I went to hook something up, something went wrong. It was a catastrophe of errors, but our house is almost back together. Almost back. We are lacking carpet in the living room, and then my house will feel more like a home again, and that will be wonderful. So hopefully in a week or two that will be completed. So okay, so we were going to take a look at some. No problem, man, dude. Thanks for dropping in. Always appreciate hearing from you. I was going to take a look at some of the material design and XAML stuff because unfortunately with me being offline, I have been playing catch up like the last 2 weeks, trying to catch up with all of the stuff that I said I was going to do, all of the session prep. Oh, no problem, Todd. I appreciate it. So it's been a little bit of chaos, and I realized that really there should be a 5.2 release coming at some point because there is 42 closed issues in here, which is probably a decent amount of stuff to be able to get in. But there is also a lot of open PRs and kind of questions floating around here. So I was going to try to snipe a couple of those off. And then in particular, this one here I felt very bad about because this one is one that I believe is good to go. We worked on it during the stream like 3 or 4 months ago. It's been a hot while. But the idea was changing the up-down control so that it can support things other than just integers, which is great. Like that's kind of a cool thing to have going. And we got that going, but then I blocked it because my XAMLTest library ended up having an issue that we needed to fix. And I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe tonight we'll just fix the XAMLTest library. And then I started down a rabbit trail. So we're going to continue down that rabbit trail together. That is, you get to experience the chaos that has been my life. And we'll start to get some of these things merged because I don't want some of these old ones to die off because there's good work here that should be ignored. Normally, I would have been pushing Hacktoberfest too this whole month, but given that I've been offline this whole time and it's the 30th, I'll give it a quick mention. It's kind of late, but you know, I will throw it out for people who are interested. And it used to be a lot bigger in years past because they used to do T-shirts for everybody who participated and got 4 pull requests in, which was cool. Now I think they just do stickers and digital swag and that kind of thing. So it's still kind of neat, but it is, yeah, it is not quite the same as it was. With that said, there have been a number of people that have thrown in stuff on the material design project for Hacktoberfest. And if that's one of you, thank you very much. It is always great to have people jumping in, even if it is just simple documentation related changes. I'm always happy to take that kind of work. Okay, so let's go through, and I want to here's the XAMLTest library. Now, I'm gonna put myself over here for a moment. Would you use Writer since it's free? Oh, that's a great. Oh, that okay. So we got a comment on that too. Writer free. This one here, yeah, this is the blog post that came out. So for people unaware, this just happened, let's see, 6 days ago, this last week, give or take a little bit. So JetBrains, who makes Writer, which arguably I think Writer is the best cross-platform IDE for .NET. I will throw that out there. I think it is, if you are on a Mac, I think it is the best possible option that you can get. It is amazing. And previously, you needed a JetBrains subscription to use it. Now, if you are doing non-commercial use, so just gonna highlight that little bit there, right? It is now free for you to use, which is pretty cool, right? I need to give it, yeah, I need to give Writer another pass. I actually have a JetBrains license. That does not get near enough use. So I do have it at my disposal. And previously I was only using it because I wanted to be able to check my work in different IDEs to make sure that things worked well for everybody. And so I had everything installed. It's kind of like when you're doing building stuff for other developers, it's kind of like having all the browsers installed as a web dev to make sure that your stuff works well on all the browsers. I was just doing that with IDEs, which worked well, right? It was good. But I need to get back and figure it out because I used ReSharper a long time ago, back with the old IntelliJ key bindings, and it messed my fingers up. I know Writer is very good. So would I use it? Yes, absolutely. I think if you are looking to dive in on something, it is very good. I moved away from ReSharper because it ended up being a bit of a resource pig on my Visual Studio, and I went, the benefits I'm getting versus the slowdown I'm taking for the resources, it ended up kind of being a judgment call, and I went, nah, it's no longer worth it for me. For people who are learning, I will say the JetBrains products are exceptionally good because unlike the regular Visual Studio analyzers, they like have little options to show you the why behind things, which is really like ReSharper was an amazing tool when I was first learning C#. The company I was at bought people licenses, which was cool. So if you have access to it, it is a really good tool. And I think Writer is like having Visual Studio plus JetBrains, only without the slowdowns. Because ReSharper has to do battle with the fact that it's limited by Visual Studio's extension APIs. Whereas Writer is like, who cares about extension APIs? I'm a first-class citizen. I am the IDE. Get in line, folks. Let's roll, right? So would I use it? Yes. I think I need to spend some time with it to actually feel like I am as proficient with it as I am in Visual Studio. I think right now it is a tool that I don't have as much knowledge or experience with, and so I don't feel as productive, but I know it has the power because I've got colleagues that use it very, very effectively. I will also say the three-way merge tool in Writer, I think might be the best three-way merge tool I've seen. And it's only because it can cheat. Because it has knowledge of the language, it can do better than a lot of Git three-way merge tools, because most Git tools don't have language semantic knowledge. They only have textual-based comparisons. So Writer can be a little more intelligent about, like, if you've reordered a bunch of things, going, I know what you mean, let me help you, because it knows about your language. And yeah, I do believe you're right that you can do Visual Studio keybinds into Writer. And so it's one that, like I said, I think I just need to spend some time to get a little more proficient with it. And who knows, maybe I'll throw that on my stream list here as ideas of things to dive into, because it is definitely worth it is worth taking a look at. And again, for people who are doing open source non-commercial stuff, jump all over it, right? Like it is cool to see such an awesome product free, and especially if you're on a Mac, I think Writer is the best .NET IDE you can get on a Mac. Right? The Visual Studio offerings, I think, are second place to Writer. Yeah, JetBrains leveraging Visual Studio being discontinued on Mac. Yeah, so VS for Mac is officially discontinued. Microsoft is pushing forward, basically trying to push the C# dev kit on VS Code as their Mac solution. It's like, because they were splitting their time trying to do both, and they went, we're kind of going subpar on both. We're going to combine and focus our efforts on one, which, like, I get the reasoning, it makes sense, but I think there's some catch up that needs to be done, and JetBrains is way out in front right now. Way out in front. Jared, long time no see, buddy. It is great to see you. Yes, I had many woes with moving and new house and house flood and remodeling, and it's been chaos. And now you get to enjoy my chaos on stream. See? And everyone can tell. This is the beauty of having a green screen. You can't tell that I'm in a completely unfinished basement with an absolute mess behind me and a stack of wood, and I'm rolling around on a concrete floor. It's perfect. It just looks normal. And thank you for the congratulations. Yeah, it's been mostly good. It's been very stressful. I will say that. Yeah. Yeah, it's, despite the fact that I'm wearing the beanie and the sweatshirt, it's not actually terribly cold in the basement. Part of it is the way it's currently set up now. The contractors have been in and out through the basement door, and so it always leaves the basement cooler than everyone else. It warms up if I leave the door closed for long enough, but I haven't done it. So this was easier. And we'll see. Explains the headwear. Yeah. Yeah. Though it's starting to warm up down here. We may end up shedding it. Did you watch GitHub Universe? Only bits and pieces. I kind of caught a little bit of a summary and a highlight reel. So I do want to look more at it. There was the Chris, the Git Kraken developer advocate, he actually got to present on one of the stages about how Git Kraken is using Copilot, which I thought was pretty cool. The problem is it didn't look like the session was recorded. I was like, yeah. Being a VTuber shares the perk of messy office. Yes, I hear that, Pikachu. Okay, so first thing we're gonna attack while we are here. Okay, first of all, my zoom level is way too small for all of you. I am sorry. We are going to fix that. Okay. Okay, so we have all of these open PRs, and all of these PRs are coming from Dependabot. And for one of several reasons, they are all no worky. And so we're gonna probably just address these one at a time and knock them all out. Because I think these are probably pretty easy to do. Why do I keep minimizing that when I meant to open the remote? Let's see, view origin. That's the button we're going for. Okay, so we're going to start with the one that I assume is going to be the easiest, the material design library rev. So what was your build failure? Because, right, job failed, and it's now been long enough that I have lost the build log. So we're just going to say, screw that. And I'm going to go grab, actually, you know what? Create branch, new Git update. Boom. We're just going to do a new branch right here, and I'll rev it manually. Manage NuGet packages. I will say, so one other thing. In my day job, I have had the absolute pleasure of getting to use Avalonia UI for a project. I am I am falling in love with Avalonia the more that I use it. So expect some streams on it. There will be some stuff. It also helps that there's a pretty cool guy who ported a good chunk of the material design stuff over to Avalonia, so I felt right at home. It's been like, oh, I recognize this code. It looks like something I may have written a few years ago. So it's been kind of cool. The other thing I'll point out to people, if you haven't seen it, I have been slowly working on, if anybody's been paying attention, my .NET templates now has an Avalonia solution built into it. This is one that we started on before, but I started filling it out, and I keep adding to it as I find stuff. There's been a nice person on Discord who's been shooting me messages. It seems like every time I push an update to this template, they rerun it and then go and correct all my mistakes. It's been quite wonderful. Okay, so we've got a bunch of updates. We are not going to do preview release. Let's try this without it, and then we'll see what the thing is that it's squawking about. Okay, so let's start with the material design one, because that's going to be one of the easiest ones to update, I think. Because in theory, I know something about this update. Let's see. There are 2 package sources defined in your configuration. When using centralized packagement, specify a single package source. What? Okay, so this is also built on an older version of my template that doesn't include the NuGet config. Where's my NuGet config? Do I not have a NuGet config defined in here? Well, that's just dumb. I'm an idiot. Okay, so okay, so we'll fix that warning too while we're in here, and we will learn something about NuGet package source mapping. It says I have 2. Oh, I bet you I have 2 sources defined in my I do, because you'll see I have this like .NET 8 internal one here, right? This one I believe is coming from my, because local's in this list too. These are coming from my user profile NuGet config. This is why it is good to have a NuGet config in your repository so that things like that aren't problematic. Okay, so we go and launch, and I am going to assume, because I think it's this test app one that uses material design. Yeah. And I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that the breaking change is one of the 5.0 changes, which is going to be, right there. So one of the key changes in the material design library on the release. So if we go to the discussions tab, there's a 5.0 migration guide. So, and if people find issues with it, please flag me. But this one here, there's a reason it's big and at the top, because it's the first thing people run into. Is previously we used to use just a defaults.xaml, but we have both Material Design 2 and Material Design 3 styling. So depending on which one you want in your app, please pick the appropriate dictionary and update. This app was if you want the latest and greatest stuff, pick 3. If you want nothing to change, pick 2. Right? That's kind of I just want to stay consistent. I want latest cool things. That's kind of the choice you're making there, if that helps. Some styles are identical between 2 and 3. Some of them are different, right? But that is almost assuredly the problem right there. Right, and then we can, let's see here. We have tests for the test app, I believe. And I think if we just launch this one, this will be good enough to validate that it actually launches. As you can see that it runs app test, and we may see the thing pop here in a minute. Ignore the green check marks. I don't believe it has not actually run. The window is opening on the side where no one can see it, which is just lovely. Okay, but that now worked. Okay, so that fixes that NuGet issue. We're going to just do a quick commit here. I'm going to put myself not in front of everybody's face. Okay, stage changes. We're going to double check what we did. There's that. Packages, props. Bumping MDIX to 5.1.0. Great. Bippity boppity. First one done. Okay. Let's see. Visual Studio Debugger Interop. Do that one next. Oh, actually, let's do the NuGet config one. I think I want to address that before I get too carried away. If I go to my templates repository and I look at my template, this is why I like my templates, because I can steal from myself. Future Kevin likes current Kevin. Okay, so this is what a NuGet config ends up looking like. And the key thing here is you map what NuGet sources your packages should restore from. The idea here is to kind of mitigate supply chain attacks where somebody posts out a different thing. Because if you have more than one NuGet source as a potential, do you know which one the package comes from? The answer, whichever one replies first. Right. So as a supply chain attack, what you do is you get yourself in the list of potential NuGet sources for the build box, and you reply really, really fast. Like you make your package source be a local directory, which is going to be very fast, and you are almost guaranteed to reply before every API call that's made, and therefore your package gets brought in when somebody asks for, I don't know, newtonsoft.json over the real one. And that's the problem, right? But if there's a NuGet config, it's going to use that first. Now, doesn't guarantee that, somebody doesn't muck with the NuGet config, but it puts one more barrier in the way. They have to actually get a hold of the NuGet config that's pulled down as part of the clone rather than just mucking with something on the system. So that's the basic premise. Right, so we're going to do this, we're going to go save, and I'm going to go slide this over here for a second while I figure out where the heck I'm going to. I got to clean this system up. I did not realize how messy I've left my system. Okay, so we're going to go in the root of my XAMLTest repository, save, and then we come back over here. And I always like to add these things into my solution items because these are things I like to see. Boom. Right? Now, this NU 1507 should go bye-bye. And the other way that you can test this is, so you will note, why did that? Yeah, there they go. I was like, why are they still there? The other way that you can check this is if you go manage NuGet packages, you can see I no longer have that list of multiple sources, right? Because it's going to use the first NuGet package or a NuGet config that it finds. And since there's one in the solution, that one wins and it doesn't walk up to my user directory one, which makes me question why I set some of those other ones in my user profile config when I probably only needed those for one or two projects. Past Kevin was probably an idiot. So let's add that in. So let's see. Add in NuGet config. Boom. Okay. Hey, we're cruising right along. Debugger interop. This guy gets to be a fun one. So let's look real quick. Well, go ahead and apply. Yep. Let's see. Do you have, if I go back to the pull requests, do you have build logs that I can look at? You do. Okay, so compilation failure, env DTE could not be found. So there's a breaking change in the NuGet package. Okay, that sounds simple enough. You show me the breaking change. Look at that. Hey, at least the errors look like the build pipeline. Okay, so yeah. Hush. Okay, so this is a bit of code inside of XAMLTest that I am both proud and horrified of. So I do not get to take credit for this. This was poached off of, I think, an obsolete blog post that I tracked down at one point. Where somebody else actually showed off doing this. I then promptly took it and abused it for my own purposes. Because the blog post was not doing this with it. And then I promptly was like, I'm doing that. The idea here is when you launch XAMLTest, it starts your WPF app or its own app shell as a separate process, and then it connects to it via gRPC, and that's how it talks back and forth. So when it's testing your WPF components, it's actually running inside of a WPF application. There's no smoke and mirrors. My opinion, the best way to test a WPF component is inside of a WPF app shell, because that's what the real app is going to be doing. So it does that, but then you want to be able to debug that remote app that's been launched so that you can see your stuff going. This, when you run your test with XAMLTest, if it sees Visual Studio attached to the running test process, it'll reach across and automatically attach Visual Studio to the other one, which is terrifyingly awesome. Okay, so this guy here, we got to look and see what we're doing. This is hunting out the object here and looking to cast it into a DTE, but what did we actually need this for? Because we're just looking to get the Visual Studio instance, because we're looking for the thing with the debugger property to be able to pull that off. And before it was inside of environment, let's go with spelunking real quick. Because what is the, what are we changing here? I want this one, please. This guy. So env DTE, it was the old namespace. That is apparently now gone. Let me see here. This might be a search on the interwebs. Visual Studio Debugger Interop. env DTE. I wonder if it moved places. It claims to exist. Oh, this is going to be one of those things that bites me because they broke the change. Through the DTE object via, yeah, that's what we trying to do. Let's see, Visual Studio Interop. Oh, hold up. I have a sinking suspicion I know the problem. I am noticing something a little different between my package name and that package name. Yeah, I have a sinking suspicion. That's going to be the kicker. Where is it? Where are you? Yeah, Visual Studio Debugger Interop. And the API that I'm looking for is inside of this package here. So I think they just reorganized their packages, and that is what is hosing me. That is my working theory. So I need that to be there. Yeah. So you come into the project. Okay, we will deal with killing the old one here in a moment. env DTE. Okay, and now look at that, we compile again. Okay, so the key line, in case it wasn't obvious, that caught my attention, that right there. The fact that that did not match my package name that I had just installed a moment ago. Okay, so the short version, they reorganized their packages and mucked with some stuff. Okay, we are going to, while we're here, we're going to inline some stuff because we got clearly newer C# syntax than what is being reported here. What are you wanting to do here? Introduce local? No, use discard. I don't want to do it. So the idea here with why the underscore equals versus just doing this, if you just invoke a method like this and it has a return value, it's not clear to future person whether the intent was to ignore the return value or whether that's a mistake. So if you do this, it's very clear then to future person that no, the intent here is I don't care about your return value. So it's a very minor analyzer thing, but as I don't trust future Kevin to actually do things properly, we're gonna do this. I do want to test this really quick, and I want to drop the old package as well, because I don't believe I need that anymore. And then that means I don't need this anymore. So pretty. Okay, let's make sure we still compile with the package gone, and then the big test will be launching and verifying that we can catch a breakpoint. The package reference. Oh, you shouldn't need that anymore either. Transitive dependencies, please. Now, why do I have this commented out here? Surprised I left this. Net Core 3.1, Net 5, both of those are dead frameworks. So, no. We don't support... I do not support obsolete frameworks, I'm sorry. Okay. I think we're good there. So the key thing that we want to test then is I'd like a breakpoint here. Oh, I gotta show this off too. This is something that I hadn't seen in a while. Okay. Do you see this little icon right here? Itty bitty little icon. So earlier this week, I had somebody come to me and go, I bet you I know something about C# you don't know. And I went, okay, surprise me. And they showed me this little button and I went, I've never seen this button before. This is something new. I don't know if it's in the GA. I will point out I am running preview versions of Visual Studio. Specifically, I am running Visual Studio 17.12 Preview 5. So for what it is worth, if your version is older than that, it may or may not exist. This is a nifty little button that shows you where your global usings are coming from. And it's worth calling out, this is a little misleading. Because the extra piece of data that you need to know in order for this to be useful is you have to know that MS Build generates this file for you from global usings that come in via MS Build, like from your CS prods or directory build props or similar. So some of these ones here, and more importantly in this particular case, because I have a directory build.props, go away, right? I have a bunch of usings brought in for me of just the common stuff. And yes, I am aware of implicit usings true, right? This project's a little special. So if you know that, and then you see that, you can now see what global usings you have coming into your project and where they are coming from. If somebody puts a global using in a different C# file, it will tell you the name of said file, and then you can go and open it, which is rather convenient. So the lesson here is with the fancy new button, you can see where your global usings are coming from, sort of. You can get the file name that they're coming in from. You just have to know that sometimes the file name may be auto-generated. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We are going to go here, and I've got a breakpoint in my test, and I've got a breakpoint in mainwindow.xaml.cs, and I expect to hit both of them when I debug this test. Let's see if it works. I might need to check and confirm that this thing enables debugging, but oh, look at that. There's main window. Oh, yes. Oh, it makes me so happy. Okay, let's see. So we're going to do that. So you killed that, got the right NuGet package there, we're good. Cleaned up some usings, that's fine. Cleaned up some dead code, cleaned up some formatting, good. Directory build props shows the package drop and the new package name, great. Updating. What was the name of that package? This right here. That. Commit change. Okay. 2 NuGets done. Next, Microsoft code analysis analyzers. Okay, let's go see. Do you have a build failure I can look at? Let's go back. This is why I shouldn't ignore my build failures. Because I'm sure I got emailed about this. I just get so many emails from GitHub. I apologize. If people think I'm ignoring you on GitHub, I'm not. I just get literally like 100 to 150 emails from GitHub a day. It's a lot. And it's self-inflicted. Like, I've set my notifications. I've marked myself as watching particular repos. And sometimes I question my sanity in doing that because I watch them and then, yeah, I then, it unfortunately then sends me emails about activity. And oftentimes I miss stuff. Okay, is banned by analyzers. Non-incremental source generators should not be used. Okay, so we are going full aggressive mode. Got it. Okay, this is a good change. This is a good change. But it is, the overwhelm is real. Yes, yes, yes. This is something I need somebody to build for me with all of the AI stuff. Like, there are things that categorize and like summarize emails, which is fine, right? What I would really like is to be able to tell an AI, these are my priorities. Please bubble up everything that is in line with my priorities and like put everything else to the side for me. That's what I want. Like, I don't want summaries. I don't want groups. I want to have a set of priorities and be able to change it somewhat arbitrarily on the fly as my day goes and have it constantly resort the stuff that's highest in my priority bucket. But it would also be nice if it could watch, because it's like, you know, if my boss emails me and says, hey, I need you to do this thing right away, that's an email that should probably come to the top. Probably. Like, an old employer of mine once told me, he's like, Kevin, because he was a manager that wasn't directly above me. He's like, I don't sign your paycheck. So if somebody who does sign your paycheck tells you to do something, I do it. And I'm like, you know what? I remembered that. That one stuck. It's like, yes, got it. You're in charge, but you're only kind of in charge. Okay, incremental source generators. Here we go. So, source generators are, wow, and I even have typos in here? Man, that's bad. This was written back in ye olde source generator API land. And the problem with the source generators when Microsoft first released them is they were good, but they let people destroy other people's Visual Studio performance, which was not a good thing. Right? They could be written in a performant manner, but the API kind of allowed people to do whatever they wanted, and unfortunately that meant they did whatever they wanted. So the incremental source generators kind of pared things down to kind of force people down the right path of here's how you build an incremental source generator properly. And it's not entirely trivial to do. I myself have screwed it up many times, so we're going to see how well I do. But that is the premise, right? Old source generators dead, incremental source generators good. They force people to do the right thing so that your Visual Studio performance doesn't tank. And more importantly, the generators can all run and make everybody happy. If you want to see some really good examples of source generators, Community Toolkit MVVM, because one, I already love the MVVM Community Toolkit. Yeah, Sergio, he does some awesome work. Like, I've had the pleasure of chatting with him before. Great guy, really smart. He can build some high performance code. So, yeah. If you want good examples of source generators, they have some nice ones in here for being able to gen these things out. So if you're interested in seeing some, and you know what? I'm just going to throw this to the side because I might need this in a minute. We'll see. We will see. Okay, so specifically, let's rev the package and see what your problem is. Ba-ba-bum. And actually, you know what? We're going to rev all of these together, because I've had bad experiences revving them independently of each other. So we're going to rev all of these. Let's see what's going on here. Now, good. So now we see debug. Yeah. Okay, so this guy is all just straight up, I hate you and don't use this. So we want to take the error, and it's very clear. Implement I incremental generator instead. Fine. I incremental generator. There we go. Now we are cruising. Okay. What have I done? I've got way too much in one file. Okay, so previously we had this guy, and now we have this guy, and now I need to remember how the heck to do this. Let's see. Yeah, Copilot, that's not right. This is register source output. Oh, see, this is where I can't remember the thing. So let's take a quick gander at one of these guys here. So diagnostic component polyfills models. Where's your generators? Where's the actual generator code? Observable property generator. That's probably a good one to look at because I'm familiar with this one. Okay. So property info with errors, for attribute with metadata, name, and stuff. This looks like exactly what we want. Gather info for all annotated fields, output the diagnostics, get the filter sequence, split groups, generate requested properties and methods, blah, 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 blah. So to be clear, the purpose of my little source generator here is, and I don't know if I show it in the demo app I'm going to be using. This is the test generator, which is also going to have the same problem. This guy here, you can decorate up your... Actually, I can show it on the material design library. XAMLTest will generate for you a interface extension methods across your UI classes. But by default, it's only going to know enough to do the built-in WPF controls. It doesn't know about anything else. And so if we look at one of these guys here, I'm trying to remember the top level one that actually has all of them in there. It's here. No, not enough stuff. Bundled theme test. One of these guys has a bunch of usings, and we can find it from... That's to enable external init. Syntax receiver, blah, blah, blah. Band list, on visit node, delegates. It's my syntax receiver, that guy. On visit syntax node, generate helpers. This is the attribute that it's hunting for. Yeah, so for example, there we go, test based. That's what I was looking for. If you wanted to generate the relevant extension methods for custom controls, you give it an attribute and say, please gen it for me. And then it'll rip through that custom control as well as its base classes, look at properties that it knows how to generate up extension methods for, because there's the communication back and forth is gRPC. And so because it's effectively serializing data back and forth, it can only send things that it knows how to serialize. And I've just never bothered to go beyond that because it handles most of the stuff that I needed right there. So the that's the premise of what this guy is actually doing. So his purpose in life is to gen up a bunch of extension methods. Okay, so we are going to shamelessly look at Sergey's code and steal, I think, all of it. It's not steal, borrow. I was telling someone on my team earlier today, the trick to becoming a senior engineer is figuring out the proper people to plagiarize from. So effectively, know who is smarter than you and go to that person. Okay, so this is clearly not entirely correct, but we're going to go with it. So let's see here. So what is going on? So context for... Oh, they've got extra stuff. See, this is what I was worried about. I might get bit. Register source output. Incremental source provider. Okay. This might end up being an interesting problem to solve. C# source generators, because this does not need to be and do lock. I vaguely recall there being a warning about this blog, that there was something weird about it that I needed to watch out for, and I don't remember what it was. Okay, blah 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 blah. Adding the new marker attribute. Blah blah blah. Register post initialize. This is the kicker. Okay, so maybe we start here. So that gets me closer. Except for I don't want... I may still want some of this, but we'll come back. I'm curious how they do some of this. Maybe we'll leave it for the moment. So, register post initialize from output. All right, so that comes through there. This is just newing up a values provider, which is what is actually needed for the work. Oh, I see. This is passing in... Oh, I got you. So this is just a values provider of types. I've got a types. I build up visual elements, which have a visual element type and a property. So mine needs to just be visual element. Okay. 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 See, now we're making progress. Incremental. Stop it. Values provider of visual element. I don't know. Elements to generate. Okay. Now the question is populating that. So let's build enums. So enum to generate, create syntax provider. So we need something akin to this. Do a simple filter for enums, blah, blah, blah. All right, so this is going to end up being Copilot, you are actually being more problematic than anything right now because you are reading all the bad code and trying to help me. Let's see. Create syntax provider. This guy. So, okay. Copilot, if you're going to help, help. Otherwise, get out of the way because you're not helping, Copilot. You're actively sabotaging me. I don't want your help, Copilot. I want you to go away. So predicate. So this takes in a syntax node, a cancellation token, and a bool, which I assume is what are the nodes that we're interested in. And then it has a transform, which lets us convert what I assume to be said nodes into RTs, which in this case is visual element. Conveniently, I have that code down here. So the syntax nodes that we are interested in grabbing are attribute syntax nodes. Effectively, this is my check that I want. That is my where clause. Is I want attribute syntax, they need to have an argument, and they need to have a name that matches this. And I think we might want that too. I'm just I'm looking for the early returns is what I'm after in here. Because that's an early return. That if breaks out. So if we don't go inside this if, I'm imagining the rest of it doesn't matter. This is a bunch of transformy stuff. Should use visual element. Blah, 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 blah. That's a static. Okay. So I think this here is effectively my if condition. Or my predicate. Show, if we come up here. All the way back up here. Create syntax provider. We're going to go here. And we're going to go predicate. Because I kind of like having the name in there. And then none of what you have done here is correct, Copilot. So just shut up and go away. Hey, give me the syntax. What were the three parameters again? Syntax node, cancellation token, bool. Let's see. Node, cancellation token, and then we need to return a bool at the end of this sucker. Okay. So we want this in here. This becomes node, I think. Hey, thank you, Pikachu. Glad to see you again. Glad to hear that you are hopefully back on the mend and doing better. So, chat again soon. Okay, so this is going to come down to a return false. And this becomes a return true. And this becomes a return false. I think that's how this goes. Yeah. Syntax node, cancellation token, predicate. Okay. And then we have a transform method. Transform. And this guy takes in a, let's see, context. Right? And then the comma there. Let's see. And he has a cancellation token, and he wants to return a T. CT. And actually, we can do that. And then at the end of the day, we want this guy to be returning back a visual element. So from context, we should have the node. Great. Okay, so if we go down here, given the node, and we've gotten all the way through that, this is the bit that is actually going to build up the visual element. Let's copy all of this, because this is doing elements add, but I think we're going to end up just returning here. We may even want to go as far as, because I'm noticing there's technically this any check, but I think we probably want to keep that. So let's get rid of this. That's just in the way now. You are also in the way, so go away. Great. And then execute is meaningless, I think. We're going to keep it around because we might need some of it. Okay, so inside of here, let's see. How do we know it? Can we get the type info? What is the... We might have to deal with not having access to the type info inside of here. It's also probably bad that this thing was calling. I guess it's calling type info on two separate types. But we would love to get the attribute name of that. We should be able to look at the other one to see how did not this one,
This guy here, how did they identify which ones were theirs? Oh, they've got their extra extension that tracks it. Interesting. We might have to dive a little deeper into there. Okay. So, text provider, attribute list, argument list. And then down here, this is effectively looking for dupes. Okay, and I need to indent this so that I can see what the heck I'm doing, because let's see, return. Let's see. I think we want to get rid of this and not do the filtering there. And I think we just want to return here. And dedupe on the other side, I think is the game plan. Okay, so what is your problem here? That is the wrong for loop, and we have lost a specific number of curly braces. Okay, and that's the problem, is we need extra closing curlies. Okay, so the curly braces now balance. That makes me feel better. Okay, so here, this guy previously had the attribute syntax. So he needs to be able to go context.node. Right, so I think we do that. And actually, we can name this appropriately so I don't have to fight with it. Okay, and then argument list. Do that, and then we can do double question mark, double square braces for the empty collection. That gets us through that. And now we have info.type. So info was coming from this, and so we were looking, because we wanted to walk up the base types. Let's see. To do. Dedupe. Because the issue here is if two things derive from, say, element, we don't want to reprocess element multiple times. Because our attribute's only going to exist on certain top-level items, like the control types. Ignore types, we're going to need to pull up. So that is an easy one to do. Clean up the collection initialization. So we're just I'm gonna copy rather than cut. I'm just gonna put him right up here. So he can live there. That'll make that one be happy. Is delegate is down here somewhere. And we kind of want that. So let's grab you and come up higher with you. That's an is call, which I assume that's the other one down here. Which may or may not be a good way of doing this, so we will double check it, but at least it gives us a starting point. Okay, that compiles. It gets me through a little bit more. Should use visual element. Where is that declared? Should use visible element. Why, I must be blind or stupid. I don't see it. Oh, there it is. Did I not bring down the local function when I copied it? I probably didn't. Why was it a local function? Just promote it. Problem solved. So effectively, it's limiting what types of things it's going to go after. and abusing the toString method on elements to do type checks, which is not a good solution, just to be clear. Okay, I think that gets the next bit done. So we just need to figure out the type remap. I think this is that dictionary. Yeah. Yeah, you ugly little thing. You can go here. I just needed to remap things from one to another. So effectively the collection types I remap into a generic iList just so that they work nicely. Okay. So that does all of that maneuvers. Okay. And now the question comes, how the heck do we get type information inside of here? Which is always a fun thing. So we're going to clean this up because I don't want to deal with... I want to keep this for a moment because I have a feeling my other method contains that kind of information. Let's see. Context target symbol containing type. This might be the key up here. So let's go up here and take a look at context, semantic model, get type info. Well, that certainly looks like something that could do what I want. What? Does not know it. Does not in the best extension method. Okay, so let's find the actual use case down here. Right, so context dot semantic model get type info info. What is info here? It wanted info before, which was the type argument. Man, okay, so we got to start this higher up. Okay, so down in here, all I have is node. Do I have enough information to be able to pull it back? Missing is tree, raw kind, syntax tree. I may not have enough information here. That may not actually... so how do you check the type name? Because all I want to do is a string comparison against the type name. Like that... That should not be hard once I have... let's see here. Semantic model, get type info. Where do you get the name of this guy? Oh, is it just right there? We're going to start with that. Because that seems like the most likely explanation. Feels like something's wrong. Name, syntax, and string. Oh. Name trivia. So if we go here and look at, where's the material design one? Something like this, right? If we go to sharplab.io, we'll look at something like this, right? And rather than IL, we go syntax tree. Right? Using directive. Attribute list, because this is our attribute syntax. Our argument list. Name, generate helpers. So what I want is the identifier off of this, or something that looks a lot like an identifier. Show it to me. Span, raw kind, syntax tree, full span. I just want, how do you get it without the, is there not a simple way to, including its leading and trailing trivia? Yeah, is there a way not to just get, get inferred member name? It's an identifier expressing infer the name of the anonymous property or tuple element. No. No, 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 no. I just want the name. Creates a new syntax node with all the white space, regularly formatted one. No, still not quite what we're going for. Oh, is kind. That's not, is equivalent to. Structurally is incrementally identical to. No, why is this hard? Restrictive, get annotations. Full span. Find node. Why do you make this hard for me? Okay, let's go take a brief gander back here. Is there any hint? Get semantic is target for generation. Let's look at how this is implemented. Is syntax target for generation? Enum declaration syntax. Great. Attribute list, after syntax. So this is down in here. Get semantic target for generation. So you can return null out of this thing. You can return null. Okay. So this guy here goes from, so it limits it here. Got it. Okay, so I'm going to take this and we are going to not check the name here. We're going to need to persist the idea of checking the name. So that's going to be a thing we have to do further down. This is checking to make sure it has a type expression specified on it. We do know this, so we can make one more filtering check here. Is type of expression syntax. We can ensure that we actually get that guy back properly. So we expect a type of, and then the rest of this is just figuring that out. Right, so if we get to here, we find it. Now here we have to do the equivalent of this guy to make sure that the one that we found is in fact the right one. This guy. So we have this, and before we can do attribute syntax, and we can just bring this guy up. All right, so this guy goes here. So this will give us the type. And this is where I actually want to steal what I had previously. because this is what we were actually checking against. And so we want to grab that information. Content submitted type name. Yes, this is the check that we want. We want to invert it and return early. Robert, welcome. I'm not ignoring you, by the way. I saw the ping on my phone. I was streaming, so I didn't open it. So, okay. So this gets me my attribute thingy-mabobber. Unless, of course, you tell me you need an answer right this moment, and then I can go look at it. Okay, so this becomes... He was pulling back the containing type of it and getting all this information, and we don't care about this. Right, so we don't need to do that. What we do need to do is replicate the idea of checking this guy in here. So if, and we know we already got this much out of here, so I'm comfortable with this thing being a cast. Otherwise, how'd we get here? If context, just paste it. Let's cache it, I guess, for a moment. Var, let's call this control type expression. This is going to be type of expression syntax. Move that down so I can see what I'm doing. Boom. And we can do, let's see here. It's just code on how to read really large JSON files with streams because JSON converter results in an out of memory. Ah, yes, yes, yes. Yeah. Robert scared me earlier with what I think is the largest possible JSON file I have ever witnessed in real life. Admittedly, it wasn't like astronomically huge, but typically JSON is something that gets like returned from a service. And so when we talk about gigabytes, that's usually way too big. Really, if it's going to be that big, it's something that an app serialized something massive. Okay, so previously we were checking the type to make sure that we could actually get the type from this expression. So we got that. And so if we go control type expression, this guy should have a type on him. Yes. And then we want this. And that goes here. And then if info.type is null, we return null. And then we bail. Notepad++ also struggles with text files of 2 gigs, so I had to get past that error too. Interesting. I wonder, is Notepad++ a 32-bit application by any chance? I wonder if that's part of the limitation. Sorry, just took a drink of this Mountain Dew and it tastes funny. I don't think it's gone bad, but it doesn't taste like the last one, and that concerns me. Okay, ignoring that detail. Let's see. Oh, it wants the cancellation token passed in here. We can do that. We can send in the cancellation token. I am very okay sending the token in. Okay, so that gets me through there. That gets me the type info. That lets me pull all this back. That gets me info.type. I now have the information. Unreachable code detected. I might be missing how this is unreachable. Oh, because I put my return element down here. This needs to... Oh. that's a problem. Because given a single attribute, I need to return back a collection of visual elements. Yeah, so let's just change this up. Because this is only going to exist in here. That's why it's unreachable, because it saw that there was a return statement at the end of the for and went, you moron, you can't get to this. Right. Okay, well, you're right. So stop making fun of me, Visual Studio. I'm fixing it. Okay. Elements gets empty. And then we will do return elements there. And then this becomes elements.add. Right, and we can put that in there. And what is your problem now? Nullability of thingamabobber. Oh, this thing needs to be nullable because I'm returning null in some cases. Okay. This dedupe check is not useful here because this is walking up through the types, and it's not possible to have a type be a base of itself. Notepad is 64-bit. Interesting. I wonder what their limitation is then. There must be something that's trying to load stuff into memory and hits limits. It is remarkably difficult dealing with massively huge files like that. Because I've done a bunch with the video files, and they're like, you quickly find all of the places where you can't just brute force your way and be the bull in a china shop, because you just don't have enough memory. Like, there used to be this mentality that older developers were smarter about memory because they had to work in more memory constrained environments. We've kind of swung that needle back a little bit with like mobile and IoT and that kind of thing, where now people are building in more constrained environments. But for a while it was like, oh no, desktop apps have to be real careful about how much memory they allocate and make sure that, you know, they aren't overusing stuff. And then it was like, my desktop has 128 gigs, whatever. What's more allocations? And that then became the mentality for a while, and now it's kind of swinging back a little bit. Okay, so I think we've replicated this. I think we've handled this. I don't need this anymore. Okay. That predicates it. That builds it. That runs that. That makes this happy. Okay. Now we need the thing that is going to dedupe and generate. So get enums to generate. Okay, so we've got this enum to generate, and then we have this. Where does this execute method get called? Okay, so there's enums to generate, register source output. Got it. So you need a register source output that takes in the generator and then the outputty bits. Got it. Got it. Makes sense, because we did all of this just to build up a values provider so that we can call this guy, right? Elements to generate. And then we do this. All right. And what are the parameters here? So we've got source production context, T source. And in his case, his execute method, that's not what we're going for. We want to go back further down. Sorry if I'm going fast. If anybody wants to follow along at home, there's the link. His looks like this. Source production context. And then there's the null check because he knows he's potentially returning null. How are we going to dedupe this? Oh, so invalid 64 to 32-bit casting of file size integers. Yep, that'll do it. That'll do it. Yeah, it would be nice to be able to say, oh, well, in C# we don't have those problems, but no, we can absolutely screw the exact same thing up. So this is a little more interesting for me because I'm returning back a list of visual elements. Some of those elements are going to be things like control, framework element, or similar base classes inside of WPF. And I don't want to generate those multiple times. I only want to generate them once. And the problem I have, and I'm gonna inline this sucker. All right, because at the end of the day, that's all this is going to be. Let's see, SPC. Yeah, so if source is, and in this case, source is going to be strongly typed to visual element, right? Visual elements. And then thingy that generates a string, that's not overly interesting, right? And this actually should probably be context here, right? And that goes there. And then we need to actually gen this stuff. So that's what exists up in my execute method. And there's some diagnostic here that I need to deal with handling. But then here I was able to get all of my generated types. Because before I got back a complete list, and then this is actually the code that does the generation, right? So it's going to do blah, 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 blah. So if we want to blindly just shove everything into one file or one spot for the moment, right? So that's the code there that we need. That's going to actually write all this stuff out. And then the last thing that we need here is the file name and then the add source, right? So that gets me, right? So that goes there. Looks like this, add source, blah, 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 blah. Let's see, source text from, and I guess specifying an encoding can't hurt. Right, so we'll do that. Done, 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 done. Okay, so that'll gen that, but it still doesn't solve the fact that I'm going to run into this whole thing. So I can probably do the elimination of ignored types pretty easily. I don't think I can look at, because this would actually probably save me too, because I've got this check in as well. I don't know why I have both. Because this is effectively saying, hey, do I already have something with that type? But this is probably too late. Boy, I'm torn on how to do this now because there's not a clean way to avoid if two things derive from the base. Even though we have similar problems, I would 1000% say we have things easier than C# diffs. That's true. That is very true. There's a lot of cheater mode things that we get, like, garbage collection. A blessing and a curse. How do I prevent this from triggering multiple times? Because I need to be able to do a predicate,
but I need the predicate to not... Because I imagine what this is going to do is this is an incremental values provider, which means it's going to spit out multiple lists of visual elements where each element reaches back to the other ones. And I need it to not hit twice on the same element. How to handle this? Source generator. Let's see. Yeah, I turns out I had to use the following instead. Wait, Vey. This is just a link problem. Okay. Avoiding incremental problems. Use net7 API for attribute blah 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 blah. Ah. Oh, this is... You must use... Okay, hold on. We're going to put this on the side real quick. Let's take a look. This might make some things easier. So the only reason we don't have that is because we are... Where'd it go? What? Did it close? I have lost the website. I don't know where it went. Okay. Well, it was linked in the series, so let's just... Okay. Stay there. Don't move. We need to be on net 7 then in order for this to work. Is that a problem? Because before I was... Okay. That is probably worth considering. Don't use syntax or I symbol instances in your pipeline. The generator do much more work than it should. That's fine. The next stages will always run. Ah. Yep. Use value types or records or custom compare. Yeah, that makes sense. Watch out for collection types. Even though... Oh. Got it. So the incremental value provider, it wants something that's nicely comparable. Got it. Okay. So register implement instead of register source output. Let's see. This is something... the difference is that it guarantees it won't change the semantic meaning of the rest of the code.
Oh, interesting. That my bonus, don't use reflection. Yeah, well, that's a given. Reflection is not known for its speed. Hey Izzy, welcome. So we are trying to get XAMLTest updated so that I can fix a bug, so that I can fix a material design thing. I think what I might do is I might stash some of these changes and circle back to this, because this is going to take, this is potentially a little bit of a bridge too far on this particular NuGet package. Let's see if we can grab the gRPC tools though and get those updated. Yeah, shut up. I know you're unhappy with me. We're gonna come back to that because that incremental source generator, because I'm gonna have to duplicate that logic twice, but we'll leave that thing stored for the moment. And then, because I'd like to get a version of this out so that I can go and fix up that last issue on the numeric up down on the material design one. See, I might have to restart my Visual Studio. Let's see if a full rebuild clears those errors. I think it might. Sorry, Izzy, I know you were almost caught up on watching my my YouTube recordings. I'm sorry. I'm now making more. So, my bad. I do want to check here because I assume this yellow squiggle indicates a vulnerable package. One deprecated package. What's deprecated? What am I using that's deprecated? Like, you can't just say you have a deprecated package. You have to tell me which one it is. Oh, pinvoke. Oh, that's right. I'm aware of this one. Okay. This one is a good one to change. It's not a drop-in replacement, though. It's not a drop-in replacement. So not an issue for today. Okay, but let's see what the gRPC errors are. What did they break on me? Probably not necessarily their fault as much as... Okay, but we will deal with that code analysis. Let's see. What are your failures? Oh, these are just test failures. Well, that's annoying. That is really annoying. One failed. So it works and compiles. It just something doesn't work right. Which one failed? Send message can move cursor to... This looks like a timing bug. This one looks like it may have just been a timing bug. Dude, Izzy, that is awesome. I think the appropriate word is, or the way I heard it is, and I will type it out, a PEBCAC. Problem exists between chair and keyboard. I think the other one is ID10T is the common way of phrasing it. Okay, so tests are running. And we're going to see some flashy windows as it does it, but I want to see all the tests pass locally. And then if this passes, we're just going to push and PR this. And then we'll see about actually fixing the bug that we started with. Hopefully that doesn't take too long. But at least this will get 3 out of 4 of my Dependabot things out of there. And I apologize if flashy lights are problematic for you. Close the stream for a minute because I look, Bob, no hands. Because it's going to do a bunch of testing and validate that things are still working properly. But it is so nice to see tests running. It feels nice. It feels nice when tests work. I was in a call earlier today, and the question came up of, do you like seeing little green check marks? It was phrased slightly differently, but that was the intent. And I was like, I love little green check marks. I love my little green check marks. Oh yeah, I forgot. It tests every WPF control. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, can I? Oh, there. There we go. Come on. Let's see. That's navigation control, so we should be down in the N's. N is later in the alphabet. Brain away from keyboard. I like it. I might have to steal that one. I just now need one for brain away from Mountain Dew. That just doesn't have the same ring to it. I'm realizing I probably could have gone through and just let the pipeline run all these for me and verified it on that. The only thing you missed at the beginning is a handful of conference updates and things. So there's a Get Kraken workshop, MBMD. I'm doing a Get Kraken workshop here in. I gotta do math in my head. 10 hours and 20 minutes. Nailed by Mountain Dew. I had Noel, but yeah, that'll work. So it's going to be on undoing and reverting stuff. Let's see. I have a user group talk next Tuesday about what's new in C# and .NET. And then there is .NET Conf coming up, and then there is GitCon coming up in December. So the only stuff that's happening between now and next stream is the Get Kraken workshop in a little bit, and then my user group talk on Tuesday. So if you aren't completely sick of me, there are those available. Oh, so it ripped through all those just fine. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can kill the test. Oh, test explorer. Stop. I just realized it's going to try to run all the tests for all the things, and I don't care. I really only care about whatever the heck this one is. I imagine let's see. Start with minimize other windows. Minimizes windows. What? What exactly is this doing? Let's see. Process start notepad.exe. Oh. Is this being streamed? Yes. Yeah, if you want links, 1 second. I've got them. Let's see, Get Kraken workshops. This is the problem with me being gone so much. The Get Kraken one here, if people are unavailable to make it, they get them up on YouTube, I think in like a week. They do a little bit of editing on it to, make it look a little prettier and then throw it up. And then this one here is this guy. So if you're interested, both are free, both are online, etc., etc., etc. And then while I'm plugging stuff, we're gonna go not this one. It's just getcon.com. There's that one there. Okay, so let's go through. I'm gonna push this and PR it because I think this one is fine. I think the Notepad one is an artifact of my current system and how I have Notepad set up. Rev grpc commit. So we're gonna just rev this, push, submit. Updating various NuGets, adding a NuGet.config. Send it. And then if we go there, and then we're gonna set auto merge and let that sucker go. Okay, so back to the whole reason this thing started. Whole reason this thing started is because we've got this numeric up-down control, and I ran into a limitation when writing the UI test for it that made it impossible for it to work properly. And I believe the issue was around the base classes, where this thing had, because we had decimal up-down and numeric up-down, and they both supported this up-down base situation here. Which I believe was the fundamental issue. I don't remember why I left the 2 on here. That seems wrong. To go through and clean that up. But I believe the issue was they didn't support nicely having generic bases, because I couldn't do this. Right? I had numeric up down and decimal up down, and that's where things started to fall apart. So required subscription to give. Wait, I'm not subscribed to myself. Does that mean I am uniquely not qualified? I need to go subscribe to a few things. Feels so wrong if I don't subscribe to myself, though. Feels weird. Okay, let's see. These are test controls. We just want to spin a couple controls that are easy to work with. Because it's really around the generator that is what is going to be used. So is this an app test? It's probably more in the generated tests. Well, this is generated test in that it actually generates tests. So you said adopt the class. As long as there's a place for me, that'll work. Let's, boy, I don't know. Generated, is it wrong if I could do generator tests? Feels weird, but let's do it, because that's functionally what we're kind of testing. Okay, so let's get something set up that matches the use case we have. So we need a public class generic base, I don't know, of T, and it will derive from button, because I don't care. It just needs to derive from something. Yeah, no need to subscribe if you're there in person every stream. That is a good point. That is an excellent point. Let's see. Public class int button is going to be derived from generic base of int. And then we are going to do public class decimal button. Copilot, you are on point. Thank you. Actually, you guys know you can do that. One of those little known C# syntax things that got introduced that most people don't realize. It was brought in for records because it makes positional records nice and clean and single-liney, but it's not limited to them. So that's fun. Let's see. And then really all we need to do, like, let's see, generate helpers using XAMLTest, and then this is where we want to go. Int button, decimal button. All right, so this is the failure case. And this is weird. Like, we're writing one. That succeeded, and now I'm extra confused. Huh? What? Why did that work? Why did that work? I thought the failure was in the generator. because that should have run amok of the problem. Do I need to put something in here for it to target? Let's pull that branch again, because I want to remember what the issue was. Let's see. Numeric up, down. Yeah. Let's see. Check out. Numeric up, down. Dang it. Clearly named things too well. Let's see. Let's just start deleting things. I've got way too much stuff checked out. Yeah, I don't care about most of these, because most of these branches that I've checked out are just things that don't matter anymore. They were PR reviews or testing things or changing things. Yeah, let's just delete. Oh, wait, hang on. Kind of want to keep the Velopack one. Delete. Yeah, there. Good, 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 good. Okay, let's try this again. Numeric up, down. Check out. Numeric up, down. There. Already exists. Oh, did I? Oh, dang it. I didn't delete the one that I actually needed to. So the one branch that was causing me the issue is the one that I didn't delete. That was dumb. Let's try again. Numeric up, down. Because picking a different name for the branch is clearly not something that I know how to do. Okay, so let's go here and let's take a look. What is going on? And this is probably an artifact of the fact that I did this like months ago and can't remember that far back. Okay. Okay, so specifically, it was that last file in the PR that we had left commented, the test base and UI tests, yeah? So it's not here, it's here, test base. This is the line that doesn't work. Why does this line not work? There is a bug here, and I don't know what it is. I'm going to feel really bad if the bug was already fixed and I just didn't publish a release or something. That's going to make me feel real stupid. So I'm wondering if I just need to have like an attached property or similar. Yeah, so this thing died out, but I think the key thing is going to be in here. It will not contribute. Element generator failed to generate source. Up down base to generate must be unique within a generator. Okay, so that's the issue. Is it's generating duplicate output names because it didn't appropriately dedupe itself. That is the kicker. Right? So that is the bug. So I probably just need an attached property or something. Wait, there's an attached Avalonia property? Oh. Sorry. Small distraction. I've been playing with Avalonia recently, and I keep discovering things that make me very happy. And it's been a wonderful, wonderful experience. Let's see. So prop dependency. Let's see. T value. And we'll just do that. This expression body. Use expression body. Base. All right, and then this will be default of T. Okay, does that cause it to fail? Well, because one of these guys is going to do it. I just need to figure out who. Okay. There.
See, now we have a failure.
So all I needed to do was get a property in the generic based that it then registers on. Okay, so now we debug the source generator. So let's put a breakpoint here. I'm kind of interested in seeing, and the simplest way to debug a source generator is to do this, is you literally just do a debugger launch. And then when you get this obnoxious thing that pops, you launch in, and you are now debugging your source generator. Okay, so here we go. So let's find it, because we are now halfway through the process. Okay, generated types. We have 94 generated types. That is a lot of types. And we are looking for, it's probably going to be near the end, I imagine. We are looking for the ones for our new control. Hopefully these are in some semblance of order, but it looks like the answer is they're in a completely random order, which is excellent. I was worried it would make sense and be simple. Is this for the GUI? Well, sort of. So this is generating... I go back over here to the material design to show its usage. So when writing UI tests, this generate helpers will look at all of the dependency properties on the control and generate out helper methods for that control. The problem we're running into here is both decimal up down and numeric up down have a common base class that's generic, and my generator is choking on that. So this is for UI testing the GUI, but yes, I don't know if that was quite what you were going for with the question, but yes. And specifically, we are looking for int button and decimal button. And I'm really, really tempted to name them differently just so that I can find them easier. Because they should be in this list somewhere. And there should be generic button in this list as well. But what do I know? I'm just a developer. In Python, struggling with the GUI. Yeah, and I will say, it like UI-based stuff is not always trivial, right? I think simplicity versus feature. Yeah, I will say I have. If you are diving into C#, it depends on how much you want to bite off all at once. I am very biased towards my own project templates. Unlike a lot of project templates that are out there, they tend to be very generic and not share a lot with you. I try to make my templates a little more opinionated towards my own personal preferences of what I think is good. Yeah. Inside a Docker container, so I'm struggling with .NET and running in the Linux ecosystems. Yeah, there are a handful of things, and you have to be a little careful with examples you find online because C# has been around for a lot longer than C# has been cross-platform, and so you'll find some code that's very, very bad. Specifically around like file paths, you'll see people just straight hard code backslashes into them, and that just doesn't work in Linux, right? The solution is simple. You just switch to a / and the problem goes away, or even better, you use something like path.combine, where it figures out the appropriate slashes for you. But yeah, there is a quite a bit of an issue. If you're building inside of a Docker container, are you trying to build a UI inside of a Docker container, or are you deving inside of a Docker container? Yeah, I launched the GUI from Docker. Got it. Okay. Interesting. The one thing I would point you to, and again, I'm biased, but I have really enjoyed Avalonia recently. So this guy here. It works on Linux. It works in a variety of places. And if you want a starting template of where to go, I do have an Avalonia solution as part of my .NET templates. So I will say this is my newest template, and there is more that I want to add to it. And I think it is good and works in its current state. I think there's more that should be done. But yeah, so if you want it, so there's the link to the repo. If you want to get started, it's here, I can just show you. Grab a window here. So make a dir example Avalonia. And then you run something like .NET new install templates. And then you have various templates created, which this one is the one that we want. So we'll go cd, what did I call it? Example Avalonia? Yeah. So if we just, and then .NET new, you have to spell correctly. Is it possible to code .NET into one giant file? Yes. You will see very few people do it, but it is possible to put all of your C# into one file. I don't think, unlike Python where it's more scripted and interpreted, I think the smallest you can possibly get, I think you're going to end up with one C# file and one project file is the smallest you can get down to. Because at the end of the day, C# is compiled, and you need the project file to tell it like what SDK to build with and that kind of thing. The other option is, if you're looking for something that may be a little more akin to, yeah, the problem is I said because I recognize this article because that's my boss. You can get C# to kind of behave like a scripting language a little bit, where it's a little closer to Python, where it's just a one C# file. It's a little more complex to do, but you can do something of this nature. It changes the output. Sometimes again, yeah, and I will say, like, the Avalonia stuff is not going to be single file. There's a lot of, once you start targeting particular platforms, you oftentimes need extra stuff to go along with it. Like, for example, if you start targeting Android has a bunch of extra files that it expects you to provide, in addition to like your C# file, your manifest and whatnot. But if you want to, there's nothing stopping you from putting all of your C# classes into a single file. Like you can see this one here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 separate classes all just in one file. But yeah, so the files in C# are there for organization. So it is definitely possible to collapse everything into one. Whether you should or not is definitely a point of debate, but can you? Yes. Okay, so the problem I'm noticing though is I don't see my thing here, so we're going to do this. Var foo gets rx generated types order by x dot, oh nope, where's the name? Namespace type full name to list. There. I don't want to think real hard. Izzy. Yeah, I will say the Freedomando, you will run into people who are 100% opposed to the single file thing, largely because they've been bitten on various projects. For small things that are like individual projects, like I will say this, even like simple little console applications, I am perfectly guilty of putting everything in one file, but it's because they're small and manageable and it doesn't bother me. So it definitely depends on what you are doing. Okay, now we should be able to find these suckers. Okay, so these are system. Let's see. Oh, I'm going to be XAMLTest, so I'm going to be down near the bottom. None of these are my type. What? Did I miss something obvious? Am I an idiot? Type.name. Am I just looking at this thing wrong? Type.name. Is this thing got a... huh? Why do I see none of my own classes in here? Like, there's a sum total of the I's. And I know I have int button. What the heck is going on? I don't see any decimals. Yeah. The other thing, Freedom, is oftentimes, depending on what you're looking at, some IDEs actually try to make it easier to deal with some of the navigation problems across multiple files. Like Control F is nice, but Visual Studio and Writer both have things that are more syntactically aware. So rather than it just being a simple grep-based approach, you can say, okay, I actually want to find a type that has the following, substring in the name or similar, which is potentially worth looking at. I am very, very, very confused. Wait. What if I type full name? Oh, I'm getting bit by... Okay, hang on. I'm getting bit by that. That's what's biting me. Okay. Let's try this again. Rinse, repeat. Let's see. Cancel the first one. Grab the second one. There we go. Okay, I think that... shoot. Stop that execution. Sorry, I only know this because it's... Whenever it jumps into this miscellaneous file, it means it's got the old version that it's compiling. Stop. Rebuild the generator. There we go. Now rebuild the tests, which will prompt the generator to run, which prompts the debugger, which says attach, and we're off to the races. There we go. And now we're looking at the updated file. Okay. So that takes me to there. That takes me to there. I should just move my breakpoint down to where I actually care to stop. Okay, let's take a look. Let's see. Int button. I still don't see it in this list. Okay, I am missing something. So we're gonna just run until we see an exception. No exception. Attach. The wrong one. Wrong one. Okay. There it hit the argument exception. I want to see this list. Oh, it's because it's running for different projects and I'm looking at the wrong oh, that's why I'm not seeing it. That's why I'm not seeing it. See, look at that. That now has it. Okay. This now makes a little more sense. So there's generic base. It's in here twice. It has generic base of full name of that. And the problem is when it's generating the file name, it's just using type.name, which is now duplicated and is problematic. So let's stop that for a moment. You shut up. Yeah. Shut up. That's the problem. Okay, so where all is this used? Okay, so that's my order by. That doesn't matter because that was just there for debugging. There is the name of the class. So it has to be a type-friendly name. Right? Because it's gonna check it on the class. Let's see, where's my other ones? So yeah, so there's the check there, and then it's used on the file name. So we need the name to be generated, but we need the name to be including the generic type if it is there. And in this case, it will be there, and we can grab it. Let's see, so if we go here, see, at least all of that work that we did to try to go to an incremental generator now is paying off because we can pick this up. Let's see, type.name. Where is type.name coming in from? We're going to update a little bit of this code while we're in here because I can't stand it. So this is type symbol.name, but this needs to be a little more, this needs to be a little different here. So we're going to need to catch it here when we run against the other project. So we're going to need to pick it up down lower. We're going to rebuild this. And then this generator is referenced by both the main project and the test project, which is what it's procking on. It might also be referenced here as well. That's probably the explanation for why it's, because I'm getting multiple pings here, right? So I get this one. We're going to hit that. And I think if I look at the context, I can probably see what it's coming to. Nope. That would be useful and straightforward and not the way we do things. Let's see. Type.name window. So I'm going to assume this is not the one that I care about. And I'm going to go debug, detach all. Then I'm going to attach to the next one. And then we're going to run this. Okay, type.name window. Let's run it. Let's continue it one more time. Content control. Control, framework element, UI element, dependency object, access text, border, decorator. This is not it. So debug, detach all. I should get another ping because it's compiling all the projects in parallel, which is making this all kinds of exciting. Okay, window, content control, control, framework element, UI element, great. Detach. Next one. And I missed. Okay, I want to look at the one that is actually being used. Okay, so in an effort to make this not suck, how can I turn off generation of these things? Because what I really want to do is kill usages of that attribute. So I think what we can do is we can turn this off, which will save me a little pain and suffering. I think I can turn off the think we can do this here. Actually, I guess if I do that, I don't need to change this because you won't get picked up. So now the attribute should only be on for the one project. And I shouldn't hit any debugger launch statements here. I still did. Okay. Why are you procking? Do you reference something else that's doing it? Then we'll test generator. Why do you still show a dependency on XAMLTest generator? Didn't I just comment you out? Nope. That's the explanation for that one. Okay. Die. There. Now you're gone. Now I should be able to rebuild you without that thing popping. Because I only want to debug the one project. Okay. That guy's fine. Now, if we go here and I launch, I should pick up the change. I should only be on the one project I care about. Obviously, things aren't going to work properly. Okay, it still shows miscellaneous file. Why do you have an old version of this? So I don't want to be broken here. I want to grab it where it's generating the... Yeah. I want to grab it. Why do you not... Do you not have a direct dependency? Let's see here. No, test generators, output type, reference output assembly, false. Yeah. If I rebuild you, and then I rebuild the test, it should pick up a new version of that assembly. I'm wondering if like .NET test is being held open, and I just need to kill off some processes. Yeah, I'm wondering if there's a running process that's gone rogue on me. Like one of these long running things. Come on. End task. End task. End task. Nope. Stop helping me. You know what? Where's my terminal? Let's see. Task kill im msbuild.exe. There. That'll... And then while we're at it... Okay. So the problem when you're building the system that you're debugging and you're debugging the build system. Very circular. Why? Okay, let's stop you for the moment. Let's just reboot Visual Studio. Yeah. I understand. You are unhappy. You don't like me. I'm going to shut down the material design one too, just because I know you guys like to keep running processes sitting around, and that's very not nice right now. Okay. Just want to debug the one process. Why is this so hard? Suppose I could move it into the other project. That's another workaround, I guess. It's not the workaround I want to do. Okay. Cancel. I'm gonna rebuild the generator just to make absolutely certain. I've got design time builds that are procking left and right, which is annoying. Okay, restore your NuGet packages. I know. Okay. Oh, wait. Okay, you're fine. And then if I rebuild you, make sure my breakpoints persisted. There's that one, but I want to actually grab it in the syntax receiver here. Okay, now if we debug in miscellaneous file, what the heck? Where are you getting your assembly from? Debug Windows, my modules. Sort by name, other way. XAMLTest generator, partially decompiled, symbol status, app data temp. See what? No. You're gonna make me go delete. I will go delete your file and make you recopy a new one. Yeah, that's it's temp VBCS compiler. Let's just terminate that guy's existence really quick. Yeah. Try again. Try again. Stop the compilation. Stop the compilation. Stop the compilation. Okay. Delete. VBCS compiler. Come over to here. VBCS. See? You cannot stop me from deleting your files. Come on. Come on. Trash it. There we go. Okay. Now I'm real confident now that it is going to be forced to get a new copy of that assembly because I just torched its cache. I'm hoping that's how it works. What the heck? Why do you hate me so very much? Why do you freaking hate me? Okay, so new plan. New plan. If you're going to do this to me and be annoying, what we're going to do is we're just going to move the debugger launch statement. Right? I'm going to put it where I want, and you are going to be happy about it. I wish there was an easier way to grab this. Here, that'll work. Build, cancel. Cancel the build. Rebuild the generator. And I have no idea why you can't figure out how to copy files properly. Probably because you're a test project. It might be easier for me to just move the test classes into a different project so that I can actually catch them properly. There we go. Okay, so this is all I wanted to do. I just wanted to look at it here. Was that hard? Yeah. Thank you. Type.name. There we go. Color zone. Not the one I'm interested in. Next. Content control. Not it. No. 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 Generic base. This is where I want to look. Because we should have information about whether you are generic or not, and then pull back that information. Static constructors, tuple elements, type arguments. I think that's all I want to do. So I want this as an I-named type symbol, and I want to grab the type arguments. So we're just gonna like to just look at that real quick, please. Come on. is going to be a pill. Why are you being this painful to debug? Oh, you make my life hard sometimes, Visual Studio. Let's see. I named type is what I'm after. Yeah. So I want that there. For when I lose it, now I've got a screenshot of it. Okay, so if we come back over to here, turn you off. Shut up. Shut up. Stop breaking on. Turn that off for a moment. Okay, so what we would like to do down here is get the type name. All right, so string safe type name gets type dot name. Right, we're gonna do that, and then let's see, let's do save type name, yeah, and then if type dot I name type symbol, name symbol, and actually I guess we can go here and say if the type arguments dot length is greater than 0. Oh, I'm sorry. Colon. Generic symbol. Right? We are going to then go safe type name. Wow, that's remarkably close. You're wrong, but remarkably close. Plus equals and do an underscore type arguments select. Oh, do we deal with generics of generics? Let's deal with it properly. Fine. Static string get safe type name. And what is this guy here? I type symbol. I type symbol. Type symbol. All right, so we want to do something like this, something like this, something like this. All right, return save type name. Now, admittedly, string builder would probably be better here. Functioning first. Okay. Let's see. Get safe type name. X. All right, nice and recursive and ugly. Do that. Does that work? So we are going to prepend an underscore if we are a generic type. We are going to rip through the generic types, get their safe type name, and then I'll go all the way here. This goes here, this goes here, this goes here, this goes here, this goes here. Right? And then that gets populated and passed into here. We get rid of this because that's no longer relevant. And then that uses the full name. I mean, I'm somewhat tempted to just take the full name and flatten it. Clearly didn't fully work because we have a problem here, but rebuild one more time. I want to see exactly what it did. because there was an output error there, and I want to look. This is fine because of the change that we made elsewhere. So if we come back here and we look here and we go the CS proj change. Yeah, because we screwed. So actually discard the whole bloody file. Discard. Cancel. Let's see, discard changes. We want to keep that. Keep that. Let's see. Put that back. Throw away that. Yeah. I don't think I need this one anymore. Okay, so that should be in a good, happy place. Still getting debug pops, which means the rebuilds haven't fully cleared them out yet, but I'm hopeful. Okay, we now compile. And that means that back in my tests, I should be able to do generator tests. It's not, am I not X unit? What am I in here? No, I'm MS test. Okay. So we do test class, test method, public void can access generated generic base class extensions. All right, and so this becomes where is a just want an I visual element of init button. All right, and that'll work. And then I want decimal button. Decimal button. And then I want let's see. I need this to be something that doesn't overlap with value, because I'm running into a naming conflict. But we can do this. That's what I want to. I want to see it compile. Build successful. And then despite the red squiggles, type value. Sorry, Izzy, I don't know what that's referring to. This is so these are effectively testing this attribute here, just to make sure that they compile properly and it appropriately generates out the needed bits. If I go here and look at, let's see. Oh, it won't show it to me, or will it? If I go up here, will it show me the generated output? Will. Yeah, this generator is not generating files. Bull, it clearly is, because this compiled. The fact that this compiles means that that method's there. Type file. Oh, I gotcha. Yeah,
Either one. I just needed a name that wasn't going to conflict with get value, because get value is the get value is the base class on visual element inside of XAMLTest. So by naming this thing value, there's a fun naming collision where then you have to disambiguate the extension method. I'm like, nah, no. I'm not doing that for a test. I'm just renaming the property. Let's see. We want to. What is the? So we only need to compile. Okay, that's really all we're going for here. It's just that. And I think we merged. Code analysis, code analyze. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Fix generic base. Stage all changes. And I need to look. What is my trigger on my build pipelines for release? I don't remember. Do I just rev the thingy-mabobber? Got it. I create a tag, and then it'll release. That's all I got to do. Okay. Let's see here. Fixing issue with a generic base class. This should resolve the problems with testing. Where is my... There. Where's this one? There. Let's see. So we are going to commit changes. Commit push. Push. This is where CI has issues with miscellaneous file. Yeah. I've actually been very proud of some of my CI stuff recently. It's been flowing shockingly smoothly in some cases. Because I had to put CI together to put out mobile applications. That was a pain in the neck. That was an utter pain in the neck. Another reason that I think, like, Avalonia is great, but they tend to focus on being a cross-platform UI solution, not a cross-platform framework, which is a important but subtle difference. So, like, I appreciate that, but it also means that, like, their templates don't take opinions on what other things you bring in. They're like, you could use whatever you want. I'm like, no, we're going to pick some things and we're going to make them the good things. And I'm going to pick all of my favorites, and that's what's going in my template. So I'm slowly building one up, and I want the CS proj files to be ready for publish and all of that stuff and out the door. It gets a little weird because I haven't decided what the template project should look like, because I'm also leaving the WebAssembly target in there. And like, the publishing for WebAssembly is very different than publishing a mobile thing or a desktop thing. And then, yeah. Ooh, could you resize that a bit? That could be useful. Ooh. Resize what? The pipeline-y bits? Or... Because the one that I've been working on, for those who care about it, like, it lives in here, and I don't even have my workflow files in here, partially because I haven't quite figured out a good, like, I don't know what good is yet. Like, this is one of the things that I've struggled with. Like, you don't really want full CD out to, like, Apple and Google Play, because they both discourage you from doing, like, publishing on that kind of cadence. They want, like, a nightly or similar, because they're like, oh, you don't really want to be publishing a bunch during the day if you don't have to. It's like, well,
yeah, but I want to still be able to trigger quickly when I want to go. So it's like, how do you then version it? And yeah, I haven't decided what I like yet. Right now, it's a 2-step process, but it's a 2-step process that's only a few clicks. So it's good enough for now. Okay, so once that merges, that's right. This doesn't let me. Forgot. This doesn't pop me out to the. What? Oh, right. I gotta click that button. Let's see. Enable auto merge. Confirm auto merge. Once this goes in, I think then all I need to do is rev. Oh, do I not version it inside of here? I version it entirely inside of this. Yeah, so it's just the base version that needs to rev. Because otherwise it runs entirely off the tag. So what have I tagged? What have I... it's been so long, I don't even know my own versioning scheme. Let's see here. This feels like a 1.2.2, I think. So we'll push a tag for it and then let it rock. And then I'm going to pull it in on that branch on the material design project and give it a test to see that it actually works. Because hopefully it just works. But I also read all those NuGet packages and we got to change the incremental source generator. So there's going to be some changes coming. So, but we'll get that rocking and rolling. But I think for now, I'm going to call it. It's been not quite 3 hours, 2.5 hours. Not bad for a first stream back. Like I said, hopefully not going to be screwed and going offline for months on end again for a while. I hope. There will be some point where I have to remodel the room that I'm in, but that's down the road. And more importantly, I can just move my desk into a different room at that point. So with that, thank you everyone for coming and hanging out again. It's good to see people. Always good to be able to hang out. So with that, as always, happy coding. See y'all next time.